Most people look at the fact you've lost your house, you've lost everything you had. What's the first big thing you buy? A motorcycle. That is just a fun thing to do. Well, that's our life.
I mean, Keegan, how many times have we talked about this in the van, driving? Like, what would it be like to come down here and do something?
Yeah! They got to worry about going fast. I got to worry about paying for the trip, helping my dad, working on my bike, training, and making it, and then doing good.
We had to fight and persist through danger and through injury and fatigue, lack of sleep, whatever, everything to get here.
And then my mom called, and she was frantic. And she...
Let's go down to the river to pray.
I actually got a late start in this motocross thing. I didn't start at age 12. I had a cousin that built a motocross track down the road from my house and went out there one weekend and fell in love. Well, when you start going in the Alabama State Series, we had a goal of making it to Loretta's one day.
Let's just go to Loretta's. Let's just make it to Loretta's. Well, we made it one time. Well, that wasn't good enough. We want to go again. So we continue to do it now.
And I made it to Loretta's at age 16 for the first time in 2015. And this is now my 4th year here.
He just loves the industry, loves the riding the motorcycle, loves the people, loves being around it. Even if he ain't riding, even if he can't go to the track and ride, he still wants to be at the track with the people and helping somebody all the time.
And I don't have the expectations of most kids here, I guess. I'm a full-time college student at the University of Alabama. And I know the time I put in ain't the time that the compound kids put in. So if I can come up here and do the best I can, I go home happy.
It was April 22nd of 2020, and me and my husband and Jordan was at home. Jordan was actually upstairs doing his last math final exam. So me and his dad was downstairs. His dad had just finished grilling and had come in the house. Well, Jordan comes downstairs and says, "Whoo, y'all, I made a B. I am so happy I passed math." So he went through the house to our small guest bathroom. And he went in the bathroom and he said,
"Dad, do you smell smoke?"
My first comment was like, "Nah, just grilled pork chops, that's all I smell." Well, the power went off about that time, so they all was like, "See, I do smell something." I went to the basement door, smoke just boiled in, so the fire was in the basement.
What I remember being really young is divorced parents, an immigrant mom, and she worked at daycare centers. She would work in the kitchen, just an immigrant kitchen worker, but I would get like free after school care. So wherever we lived around Arkansas, we would go to school, and then go to whatever daycare my mom was working at and hang out, and then we would go home. When I was 14, my mom said, you know, you need to help a little bit. And she said, wouldn't it be nice if you worked at an Italian restaurant? And we met a lady named Maria Zaffino, and I started bussing tables. Maria Zaffino fell in love with my mom and said, you need to work here, you've got the accent. So my mom became a hostess, then my mom became a waitress. The Zaffino family sold to the Pacheco family, and we learned a lot from them. They were from New York. By this time, I'm waiting tables, and my mom's the head waitress. Taught us how to do fine dining, martinis, kind of upscale. The Pacheco family sold it to another lady. She didn't pay her bills. While we were working one night, we were raided by like ATF. It wasn't ATF, it was a state agency. They put tarps over the bar and said, you guys are done. What embarrassed my mother was they said, who's in charge here? My mom was the manager, not the owner. And she was really embarrassed by that. And that was the end of that. Until the landlord of the building contacted my mom and said, I heard you've been doing everything. Anyways, she took a loan at 40 years old, quit her daycare job, and purchased the restaurant. And off we went. When I came back from the Marine Corps, I went to college. I met my wife. We had our first daughter. So I come back a little educated, and my wife's an accountant. And as a team, my mom with the hospitality, I learned how to cook. We had some great chefs that I learned from. I would go to Vegas and go to Italian food conventions and take notes furiously. And soon we were one of the best restaurants in Little Rock, with lines out the door. Numerous times have I put engagement rings and creme brulees, and send out, I'm talking a $5,000 ring in my kitchen wrapped in butcher paper. It's because the guy wants to propose. We were a special part of people's lives, is what I would say about the restaurant. And we took off to Freestone, the race that never happened, 2020. And we set up, and my youngest son Wyatt went out on practice 4. Everything's normal. Before I left to go to Freestone, I had to make a social media statement because there was some buzz about this flu that was going around. We're going to continue to be clean and sanitary. We've always been that way. Don't worry about a thing. So we're at Freestone, practice 4. Wyatt comes off. He's muddy. They call everybody to the starting line. And, I felt really bad for the Miller family. They kicked everybody out, which was unbelievable. There were so many people there. And when I watched the Miller family with tears in their eyes, handing back hundreds of dollars, thousands and thousands of dollars, I told my wife, just let them keep, what is it, 600 or something? Let's just leave, like this sucks. They put a lot of work into this. And then my mom called, and she was frantic.
I went to the basement door, smoke just boiled in, so the fire was in the basement. I run around the house, intent to see what was going on, and the flames was all up in the basement where everything was, all the race bikes. We had brand new bikes in the basement. We had bikes that was racing at the time in the basement, golf carts, lawnmowers, weed eaters. I started trying to put the fire out, spent way too much time putting the fire out, didn't get nothing out of the house.
So within 7 minutes, our house was engulfed with flames. We lost 2 animals. I lost all my memorabilia, all my Loretta's trophies, bibs, all my Alabama State Championship trophies for the past 10 years. I mean, and I was 18 at the time. It's just like I've worked 10 years to accumulate what most kids would dream of. And I lost it all in 7 minutes.
That night, after that fire, we went back to my parents' house to stay. Literally, the only thing we had is what we wore, and we was able to get the vehicles out of the carport.
People showed up with clothes and beds and done what they could to get us established again to live.
Our local community of West Baltic come together, got us clothes, got us stuff to get through the next few days till we could start putting things back together and trying to get life back to normal. And our normal life is racing motorcycles. But, so that was the first thing. Once we get things back going and can live day to day, eating, surviving, was get back on motorcycles. Get the kids' life back to normal.
It was probably less than a week. We were trying to find a motorcycle because we had done run one area and was trying to get just to go try to do one regional. We knew how disappointing it would be to not at least get to try. And we wasn't able to find a motorcycle over the COVID reasons.
During the COVID time, everything was tough with COVID going on. We actually had to go to Oklahoma to pick up one motorcycle what we could find. We just couldn't find nothing, nowhere.
We finally found a dirt bike, which was a Honda, and we drove all the way to Stillwater, Oklahoma to pick up that motorcycle. And we drove 12 hours back home. But it was some of the best 12 hours we've had, just from that's just another piece of the puzzle, putting our life back together.
You know, most people look at the fact you've lost your house, you've lost everything you had, and what's the first big thing you buy? A motorcycle. There's so much stuff that we need more than a motorcycle. That is just a fun thing to do. That's our life.
And I've had a lot of people ask that, including other family members. It's like, why buy a dirt bike? You don't have a house. Well, and that's the reason why. It's because we're together. We're spending time together. I mean, you can't beat time together with family. This week right here at Loretta's, you see how many families are out here. I mean, when you go off to a football game or your kid's playing football, you ain't doing nothing but sitting in the bleachers. And especially when your kid goes off to college, you don't see them. So I'm lucky enough to live close enough to University of Alabama that I commute. I still live at home, still spend time with my family, and I'm still able to put time forth to this.
This one is much sweeter because yes, we worked really hard to get here the 3 times before, but with everything that happened this past year, it was like a huge mountain to even think we could make it again. But to be able to make it is feeling like we survived. We know coming that we're not going to be a front runner and we're not going to be a contender, but to say we done it one more time, I know it means a lot to Jordan, but it means a lot to all of us.
It's actually funny because Mom called and said, hey, the governor is not letting anybody in the restaurant. And I told Lori, I said, well, we better get our money back. Because this is very odd. So I had a 6-hour drive home on the phone with employees and other business owners. Everybody's freaking out. Everybody went through this. Everybody watching this, listening to this, sitting right here, went through, has a story. And we got back and we got the staff together and we said, we're going to close or we're going to change and operate. We decided to change and try to operate in the parking lot. And we made it 10 weeks. It was the hardest 10 weeks I've ever worked in my life. Switching, putting all the china away, go to all styrofoam and to-go containers, and how can we make a martini to go in the parking lot? It was like starting a new business. You know, we lost all our money and we just shut it down. My wife knew that, you know, she takes care of me like I'm the 5th child. And she said, we need to go do something. We pick up truck, we went to Park City, Utah, mountain bike, we raced Washougal, and I kind of just thought about what the future was going to hold for us. At the Freestone Regional is when my family was at our lowest point. My daughter missing school, our oldest son Weston tore his knee up at Daytona and then had a concussion, and we just, you know, you can't ride. And he tried to go at Freestone, and then the little brother Wyatt really just rides circles in the grass field. And This is honestly the way I feel about my special second son, Wyatt. I think me and my wife were arguing. Freestyle wasn't fun for some reason. We weren't having any fun. And on his Pee-wee, he grabs a great start in the first moto and gets a fourth. And buddy, that's really good. There's like 40 kids signed up in this. Great job. Moto 2, he ends up in mid-pack, and I said, you know, I've experienced enough to know, okay, I see how this is gonna go. I need to be prepared to give a hug instead of a high five after this one. So 15th, you know, comes around 13th, comes around 11th, it's up to 9th. I'm like, man, did you see that pass? You know, he's up to 7th. And then does the exact same thing in the third moto. It's an experience I have with my wife that nobody else has. Nobody watches that class unless they have a kid in there.
If I would have been asleep in that house, I wouldn't be here right now. Those 7 minutes, I wouldn't have got out. But it makes me very thankful for here. It makes me enjoy it. As I said, it ain't no pressure this week. And I've told myself this week, I mean, we're here to have a good time, no pressure. We're gonna do the best we can. We're gonna go home happy.
It's little accomplishments. You know, the fact he finished 20th, we are pumped. Most people here would go, why are you happy with the 20th? Well, we're happy to just be here. So that 20 to us is big.
We don't come in as big of a camper and don't have as nice of a house that we've come from, as nice of stuff, but we've got a motorcycle. We do have a camper to stay in, and we don't live at a training facility. We can't do that. He's a full-time college kid. And so hopefully they'll have the opportunity to be in the industry somehow. And whether maybe not riding a motorcycle, but somehow, and just because of the love of the sport, he just has that love of it. You know, there is no other hobby for us. This is it. I mean, we work to pay the bills, pay the power bill, to be able to eat, and we race motorcycles. And that's our all-in.
My wife and I watched as he intentionally made passes and was covered in sweat when he was done. And I don't know if he remembers when he pulled under the tent. Why are you crying? Why are you crying? That's what he asked me. I was like, yeah, it's a really big deal what you did. So his older brother was like, I get to go to Loretta's, play with my friends, my daughters, we get to go to Loretta's. The little tiny shoulders put the whole family on him and got us here. Does it matter in the long run? No. Does it matter to us right now? Yeah. We're happy we're here.